Hello all. Right, just taking care of some business on the ZX9R today. Need to take off the fuel tank and need to have a quick look at the air filter and give that a clean out. Obviously a bit of winter maintenance, and then see how the carbs look and probably get it started up again. You'll see from my last video it took quite a bit to start it last time, so hopefully a little bit of preventive maintenance and we can get it started a bit better. Actually stuck in the garage today because outside is absolutely horrible, so apologies for the tight space and the junk everywhere, but needs must. Okay, let's get on with it. So first things first, now I always like to do this first because this is a area that can easily get missed and can easily get broken. So this is obviously a fuel tap. This is obviously not a where is my fuel tap informational video, but your fuel tap is just there, so we'll switch that to off before we start. Now this fuel tap obviously goes, you can actually see that the light is pretty bad, it goes right inside there. The fuel tap is in there, but there's a big long shaft there that's made of plastic. Now inside here, let me get my camera focused, inside there is a screw, so do yourself a favour, crack that screw open first of all, take that screw out and remove that little beastie, because if you forget to do that, that will come in direct contact with the frame when you try and lift the tank off, and you will end up in a world of pain, because as all things Kawasaki, these things are difficult to get and these things are very expensive. So that's the first bit I do. So next on the list, you've obviously got the fuel tap off, or the plastic bit for the fuel tap. So obviously now the next bit is get your pliers in there. This is really good when you're trying to hold a camera and show people how to do it. Get your pliers in there, take the clip off on the fuel line, and this is where you hope and pray that your fuel tap does work. So in there you've got your fuel pipe, grab yourself a screwdriver and prise that off, and here goes nothing. And there we go, a little bit of fuel spillage, that's quite normal, a little bit of residual stuff in there, but the pipe is off, and that's one of the major pipes that holds your fuel tank to the engine. Right, next job, you come up here, take off your back seat if you haven't done so already, and just there is a 10mm bolt. So I've grabbed myself the 10mm on a ratchet, and literally a little bit of a crack to undo it, and job done. What I tend to do now is grab myself a screwdriver attachment, and easier said than done when you're trying to video it as well. Screwdriver on there, a few screws around like so, and then for the very last bit, human fingers are the best tools. Off like that, slide it backwards, and it's gone. Obviously stow that in a safe place, and then all you do, lift up the seat, slide it backwards, and we're in. So under there is obviously all your electrics, the CDI, your battery, and the first box we're after are those little beauties there. Those ones I believe are 12mm. So that's the point in the comments where everybody goes, oh you idiot, they're not 12mm, and I should have known, because although I have put grease around them and they're nice and dirty, no, they're not 12mm, what a muppet. So 10mm is what we need, and again, put your socket on there, little crack, should go fairly easily. I do tend to put a little bit of Loctite on mine just to make sure, but I've never had them come out, but again, I don't want to have them come out either. So crack those two, and then we'll move on to the front ones. So again, the trusty screwdriver comes out. Now these are quite long bolts, and they also have obviously this bracket on. This bracket is the bracket that obviously holds the seat in place, so when you come to put this back together again, Obviously don't get it around the wrong way. It is incredibly difficult to do that, but you know, if I can do it, I'm sure you can. So there you go, one bracket, a couple of bolts. Now obviously another pipe just here, straight in clear view, comes straight off. This one you'll more than likely find it will drop through to the floor, because all it is basically an overflow for the filler on the top. So if you overflow that, it just comes down here. So again, a little bit of a pull, that pops straight off. Stick it out of the way, but again you may find it just drops down. All you got to do, if it does drop down, it's pretty easy, you just re-thread it again, so it's not the end of the world. So okay, that's the back two. Now we're going to move on to the two 10mm at the front. The next two bolts, obviously just in there, bottom to the frame, again 10mm. I have just cracked these off, because obviously we don't want non-value added stuff on the camera, even though you've had plenty so far. So they quickly undo, and again, human hands, best thing is just to get those out, because human hands are amazing. There you go, one bolt, as so, and you may have to just turn the steering a little for the second one. Not the easiest things to get up, but they're not impossible either. The good thing about Kawasaki is they're well designed, I have to say. Okay, so that's those two off. Now, obviously the next part is to try and remove the tank itself. Now the tank itself we'll lift up from the back, as so, and there's also two pegs at the front on bungees that have to come off as well. And I think for this bit, the camera stand needs to come out, so give me a minute. Okay, for the next bit, apologies if the camera angle's not very good. I'm not a director, I'm just a bloke who puts rubbish on YouTube. We've got to lift it off. Now, as I remember rightly, there are some tubes underneath this. Again, these are tubes that are basically overflow, dispersal tubes, but I'm pretty sure there's some under there. So, if I get in the way, apologies, but I'll try and do the best job I can. So, first of all, we lift it up at the back. Now, I believe there's also, if I remember rightly, there's a wire underneath for the fuel sender, so you've got a fair bit of movement. Okay, so I can't see where the sender is, so I'm going to lift it up. And there you go, it's off. I was wrong. Obviously that's another machine I was thinking of. So there you go. One tank. That's it out the way. Okay. So there she is, slightly more naked than she was a minute ago. Okay, so tank is off, just for reference. There you go, that's where your fuel line comes in. There is a filter just in there, and that filter goes into the pump, which is just there. Let's get some light on that, that's better. So this is the airbox here. Now mine has a K&N in it, as many do I'm sure by this age. So again, trusty old 10mm, and we'll get the top off. Here we go. So good old trusty Japanese technology. So that's all the screws loosened off. There are a couple of screws that hold the loom on, vice and bracket, so do yourself a favour and take those off, as you'll be tugging and doing some damage to your loom as well. So there and there, obviously both sides. Just put the brackets back a little bit. They should stay there. Again, if they drop off, you probably have to go hunting around the engine bay. And then in theory, by the magic of everything Kawasaki, top just pops off. There you have it. So just disperse of that. There is basically your carburetors and the air filter, which yeah, I'm glad I chose to take this out, because that's looking filthy. Okay, we'll just pop that out. So it just pulls out, nothing special. It's obviously full of full of oil. K&N oil is amazing stuff and horrible stuff all at the same time, so that's looking, yeah, decidedly crappy. We'll give that a good clean later. Coming in there is obviously the ram air, so that comes right from the front under your headlight, and air is forced in through that tube and that tube there. So anybody who's got one of these will know the ram air sound. It's quite a sweet sound when you give it give it the beans. So basically, if you wanted now to take this off, you've got one pipe there and some bolts that actually sit on the air filter itself. It does come off relatively easy, but I'm not going to be taking it off today. There's no need for that. I will probably give the carbs a good squirt with some carb cleaner and maybe some WD-40 as well, just to sharpen them up a little bit. But they look pretty clean in there, to be honest. Doesn't look too bad, but to be fair, it hasn't done a lot of miles this year. Okay, so that is basically how you take off the air filter on the ZX9R. Hopefully it's been of use to a few people. I'll make some more videos later if I can. I may actually, while I've got it in this state, look at changing the spark plug. So yes, I will be taking this off. Spark plugs are, you can just see down there, not the easiest things to get hold of, but again, I've worked on worse. So yeah, I think they were done last year, so maybe just a quick look at the gaps. But all in all, yeah, I think just a quick air filter clean up, a little bit of lubrication on the carbs, give it a run, maybe give it a blast down the road, and we'll be good. Okay, all. Thanks for watching. If there's anything else you want to know, then give me a shout, and whatever you're doing, enjoy. So guys, aware this video is probably all over the place, but decided to take off the actual air filter casing itself. So said earlier, there's a bolt there. There is actually a sneaky one in the middle, which I've just taken out. There's another one there, and then obviously there are just Jubilee clips inside here. You probably can't see all that well. So a couple of Jubilee clips there, and another two there. So I'm going to switch the camera off, and I am just going to take these off, and then we'll remove the airbox. So having done the clips, there's one in there for the ram air, and obviously that one that side as well. And then in theory, we give it a little tug, and a little bit of manipulation, and maybe even swerve it a little, who knows, and off she comes. There you go. There is a little pipe there, as you can see. To be honest, that's going to sit there for the time I need it off anyway. And there you go. As I said earlier, there's your spark plugs. Again, not the easiest things to get hold of. The spanner itself has to be a slimline one. I'm lucky I have a toolkit, actually sits back there, and that toolkit does actually have the Kawasaki spanner in it, so it gets in there quite nicely. But again, it's not easy, but I'm going to take those out and just have a quick look at them, and then start with the job of putting it all back together again. I hope you've enjoyed this. Sorry it's been in all sorts of bits and pieces, but yeah, you get the idea, and that's general maintenance for you. Pretty much anything on the bike, you start one job and leads to another. And here's how the spark plugs come out. So that's the spark plug spanner that you get from Kawasaki, quite a slimline one, as you can see, and that's the sort of thing you need to get in there, because that's the only thing that will get inside the cavity. And basically I have taped my 17mm socket to it, and I have a long flexible extension bar, so that fits in there really nicely like that. Pops down on the spark plug itself, and then a little tweak, and there she comes. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. Pop that off. Need a twist with the hands. You can kind of feel when it goes loose as well, when it's ready to come out, which I think is about now. And there you go. One spark plug out. Easy, eh? Oh, and just a little bonus. Has anybody ever wondered what one of these sounds like with no airbox on it? The question is, will it start? Let's find out, shall we? Okay. Getting there, getting there. Certainly doesn't like it with the airbox off. Ooh. Probably doesn't help to spray WD-40 in there as well. Oh dear. Looks like this swinging here, burning WD-40, not good. And I think that's about it for the petrol. Right, I'm going to get in the garage because I'm getting choked up. Okay guys, enjoy.